Anytime we're at the traffic lights and a car's giving it, there's one person I know who's always the first to give it. Sonny.
This guy. This guy.
I don't know why, but
anytime there's a straight road, I know there's going to be one guy blasting it by, and you can't help yourself.
Twisties as well.
Yeah, twisties as well.
Less so with twisties.
If you can see this bit from here to here, this is what's called a chicken strip.
No, it's actually just this little part here.
Anybody that doesn't know what that is, Google it, and you're looking at Mr. Chicken Strip here.
I call him the straight line rider because there's none of that.
So out of the factory, these come just shy of 200 horsepower. I've changed the exhaust system. It's got a full titanium Aquapovic exhaust system. It's been remapped on the dyno. It's got an uprated air filter. So I haven't gone absolutely crazy, but it's more than enough power to lift the front wheel at 120 mile an hour. I used to do a lot of drag racing back in the day, a lot of top speed racing. Got my thrill from racing and speed. You know, pretty much got to the end of that. The quickest way to 200 mile an hour, and to still get that fix was on two wheels. I thought, let's give it a go. Never rode a bike. I worked with a guy who was a biker. I took him out in my car once, and it scared him shitless. So on the back of that, he said he wanted to pay me back and take me on the back of his bike, which was a Honda 1100cc Honda, so it wasn't any slouch. I went on the back of that, and he thought I was going to be scared. A week afterwards, I went and done my full test because I just love that thrill so much.
I wanted something a bit comfortable first, so I started off with a Harley Davidson. I had a Sportster 48. From there, it had its limitations. There's times where, you know, you just want to sort of put your foot down, you hit those country roads. Keeping up with some of the guys I ride with, it does struggle sometimes. And so I ended up going for this one. This is not a full sports bike, it's a sports tourer. So it's got obviously the sort of ergonomics of a sports bike, but it's got upright handlebars as well. So you're in a comfortable position. So it's ideal for hitting those country lanes when you put foot down, and also for touring. So I mean, I like doing a bit of touring as well. I haven't done too much, but we've done a few trips and we've got a few more planned this year.
I started an interest in biking back in 2006. The year before that, I sadly lost my father, and it was something that I always thought, you know, I want to ride, but I'll do it later on. But sadly, losing my father made me think, you know what, I'm not going to wait around. Who knows what's going to happen? And I got myself a Harley Davidson. So I rode Harleys for about 12 years. Just the whole concept of riding, the concept of freedom really is freedom. And you don't have to go fast. You don't even have to have a posh bike, really. It's a great leveler because everybody that rides, no matter who you meet, if you're riding and there's another guy passing you, you kind of do a nod. If someone's stopped, you know, by the side of the road, broken down, it's kind of common courtesy that as a biker you'll stop for them. So there's a lot of camaraderie and patriotism with this hobby, and it's been really good. I mean, you know, it's a great way to meet friends. It's a brilliant way to fill up half a day or even a weekend riding. And the best thing about it is when you're actually riding, you're so connected to the road and the machine, you genuinely do escape from everything else. You are just focused on that. So yeah, really, best word to describe it is visceral. You know, riding a bike to driving a car is very, very different. The car, the handling and so on and so forth might be really good, the power might be really good, but the sensation you get here, even though these bikes have a lot of technology, a lot of safety equipment, you still are very, very connected, and the skill required to ride one of these well is significant, and I've got a massive way to go.
Once I started riding and getting into riding more, you realise it's not just about straight line speed. Anybody can just twist or throttle, but the corners and going at speed around corners is what really hits the adrenaline. The sort of riding that we do is out of the area into the twisty country roads, away from drivers pretty much. Where we live in built up urban areas, it's arguably suicidal to ride how we ride. Once we get into the nationals out there, then we're game on.
Most of the time we end up going out on a Sunday There's quite a few of us. We end up going together, hitting the roads. We do like the odd 150 mile on a Sunday ride and come back. It's refreshing. You forget, most of the time, if you've had a stressful day or something, you forget everything. You hit those roads, it's such a refreshing feeling being out on the bike.
A few weeks' time, we're going to Wales. We did Wales last year as well. It's just 4 days away. And we've got family commitments, we've all got jobs and so on and so forth. So we have to moderate it. But, you know, the whole sense of being together, it's not just the riding as well, because with bikes, you ride for an hour. But by that time, you're ready to have a bit of a break. So there's lots of banter, there's lots of mickey taking. I bear the brunt of it quite a lot, but I give out as much as I get. And we just have a really good time. I think it's really important that we stay safe as well. Because that's always, you know, you're riding these always in the knowledge that you are that much more vulnerable. So your spatial awareness, your alertness, all of those really factor in heavily when you're riding a bike.
Everyone needs a distraction in life, I think. You know, people go out, they play football once a week or they go to the pub or whatever. For me, my fix is getting out on my bike. We work really hard during the week, we've got stresses of life. Without this, God knows where I would be. You know, I look forward to the weekend, look for Sunday, starting that bike, getting out in those country lanes and just giving it beans. So this bike I've had for coming up to a year now. I've owned a Suzuki Hayabusa for about 12 years. This one I wanted something a little bit more new, modern, and I'll be able to flick around in the corners a lot easier. And honestly, I was shying away from sports bikes. I always wanted to get back on one again because of the ergonomics. You know, there's nothing worse than getting into work and having a neck ache or whatever. But I sat on this bike and I thought, wow, BMW, they've got it right. It's comfortable, it's purposeful, and it really goes some.
Ducatis are known to be sports bikes, so these are pretty sporty to start with. It's based around their flagship model called the Panigale V4, which I actually had before this. But this is a bit more of a comfortable version, so the handlebars are a little bit more upright. It's got a V4 engine, and it's 1100cc with about 210 brake horsepower. So it's properly quick. It's weighs just under 200 kg. Bike's pretty much stock. I've had a little tail tidy, because that's stock. They come with a really long tail section to comply with the laws. So that's been taken care of. I've got an exhaust, an air filter and a remap, and just a few other little bits like, you know, aluminium here, some carbon fibre finishes, just small details to make it my own. But yeah, you know, great bike. I've had it since July last year.
When I got this bike, it actually came as standard, so I've changed the exhaust system. I've got the Yoshimura R11 exhaust system, got the full exhaust system fitted in. I've had it remapped. Initially it was hitting 135 brake. After remap, it's gone up to 145, and it's a lot smoother ride now as well. Other than that, heated grips and just a few other little mods in between. The rest is all pretty much as was.
I remember meeting Sonny at a biker's cafe. One day I was out there with my friends and I met up with Sonny, and we instantly hit it off. You know, it was great. We swapped numbers and so on and so forth. Gov as well, I've known him, we've got other hobbies, and when I got a motorbike and he saw my motorbike, he wanted one as well. Wherever I buy, he kind of wants to do the same.
There's one thing I've noticed very different about sort of biker community now. Now, anytime, I picked this up when I started riding, so anytime you go past another biker, they'll always nod at you. It's guaranteed, like, and it's always a side nod. So every single time, any biker that you see, they'll always give you a nod out of respect. You go to bike shows, you never get any arrogance. Everyone sort of admires your bike. You look at other people's. It's such a very friendly community. We've got a good group of bikers that we tend to ride with. Everyone looks out for each other.
I remember going into Ace Cafe with a helmet on, with another friend of mine who was also Sikh. He had a batka on as well. And as soon as we rode into that place, loads of people stopped. They looked at our bikes, you know, they were decent bikes. As soon as we took our helmets off and they saw that we were Sikhs, we had beards, you know, and everything, I didn't know what to expect. And across the other side of the car park, a big guy came over. He must have been about 6'4", no exaggeration, bald. He had a beard up to here, started walking towards us. And I'm like, what's going to happen now? And he came up to me and he said, "Sat Sri Akal," right? We're treated like bikers, we're not treated like different people. Bikers, they gel together and it's just a great community.
Yeah.
But why are there so few bikers? I mean, we love our cars. Every person's got their BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, whatever. But for bikers, it's, you know, we can count on one hand.
I think there's a fear factor as well within families. So I know a lot of people who love bikes. So a lot of people I know like bikes, but their families won't like it. It's quite funny though, because a lot of the sort of the Indian people, they come from Sikh people, whatever. They come from India, which is majority bikes. But living here, their families aren't so keen on people having bikes.
But with us, it was easier. Forgiveness is easier than permission. That's what I did.
Absolutely. I bought my bike before I passed my test, and it was in the garage. I passed my test, and just by chance, my mum went in the garage to get something, and she said, "Akia," which is a motorbike.
I told my mum I bought a scooter.
Well, you have, haven't you?
That was a Harley.
We always say.
That was a Harley. A scooter.